abilities that are linked to beyond species typical abilities. Right? This, of course, is very, I mean, for disability studies scholars, this sounds all very familiar because disability studies, as I outlined higher up, is all about questioning the body. The only thing there was that it's a difference between so-called species typical in the normative old ways and then disabled people being labeled as subspecies typical. Now we're just moving the curve, and the people who are nowadays maybe seen as species typical then all by a sudden become subspecies typical and could be seen then as the new techno-poor impaired, the people who simply don't want or simply do not have access to the modification of the body. As it relates to humans, an animal measure of threat to and success towards achieving health has been based so far also on the notion of deviance. Right? And now we're moving even the animals so forward that, well, we can modify them further, so maybe we want to have certain forms of animals and then they will be also covered, right? I mean, the ones we have normal now, and then we have to improve them. One could say we have a low technical version of breeding to achieve that, but now with technology, of course, we can, I mean, apply this even more. And interesting that so far the sociology of health field and the ecological health discourse are really silent on these science technology enabling paradigm shifts, which move the meaning of health beyond species typical, which is really, the ground is really laid by changing ability expectations. And I submit, that's my conclusion, that the cultural concept of ableism and the dynamic of ability expectation is a gift from the disabled people rights movement and disability studies to the rest of the world, academic or otherwise. I submit that broadening the focus of ableism is a means to break down the ghettoization of impact of the field of disability studies and disabled people. We really gave something to the world and people just don't take it because they think it's just, oh, it's just disabled people. But very likely our scholars and our people are the most best prepared people to really look into how ability expectations can be detrimental and how one has to, I mean, play around and change this and how it has to be governed and so on. And I think disabled people have to go out and say and promote this more, saying, well, we have a concept here and you guys all can use that, and right, very likely this is the future, this is the angle which has to be employed, and that's why I'm so glad that we have this conference. It allows the wisdom generated around ableism-driven disablement generated within disability studies and the disabled people rights movement to be applied to problems the so-called non-disabled people face. And it actually gives them the realization that we all have the same ability expectation problems, and that could be a framework to gel around. Every disability studies scholar is, in my view, among others, an ability cultural researcher. I submit that many academics outside the realm of disability studies might find it fruitful to be an ability cultural researcher and to investigate cultural aspects of ability preferences. The culture of ability preferences and the impact of ability preference on societies. Now in 2008, I stated, ability studies investigates in general how ability expectation and ableism hierarchies and preferences come to pass and the impact of such hierarchies and preferences. Ability studies investigates the social, cultural, legal, political, ethical, and other considerations by which any given ability may be judged, which leads to favoring one ability over another, the impact and consequences of favoring certain abilities and rejecting others, and the consequences of ableism in its different forms and its relationship with and impact on other isms. And with that, I've stopped. Thank you a lot.